Yeah, I mean, I think for our group, I think, coming off of last season, I think, there was certainly a sense of disappointment. I think we all expected not to be where we were with the record that we ended up with, but we wanted to, instead of just focusing in on that, we wanted to, learn from it and use it as the experience to make us better going into this season. And I think that, looking at our group, I think that it has been a learning experience for us. And not to say that we're not going to focus in on it, but I think at the same time we used it, and I think it's helped prepare us for our season this year. I think that something that's always been important to us is just to focus in on the process and not get distracted with anything that maybe we can't control, or worrying about the end of the season, or where we're at and where we're going to how all those things are going to play out. And I think if you work the process, I think that's going to give you the best chance to be successful, and really focus in on what you want to do by week rather than by month or by the end of the season. I think we all want to win a championship. We all want to finish first. I think those are given things, but from our group, we want to focus in on our process and control what we can control, and take it week by week and get better every day. And I've certainly liked the character of our group. I like the leadership of our group, and so far what I've seen, I really think we're trending going in the right direction to start our season. And I think some of the things that'll be important for us, I think we have some minutes to be filled in some in important positions. I think obviously in goal with Scott Grenham, he's basically carried the mail the last 3 years for us, and the year before that was Chad Johnson. And I think, for our program, it's the first time since I've been the head coach we haven't really had an established starting goaltender. But what was important for us in that position is really just to establish the culture with it. We have a senior goaltender that is really really working hard to get his opportunity, and we've got a freshman and a sophomore that have been kind of following his lead, and I've really liked what I've seen out of those guys so far this season. And but we've got to make some decisions there, and I think on the back end we lost to Aaron Jens and Scott Enders, and so there's some minutes to be filled there in especially team situations 5-on-5. But I think again we've got some guys coming in and some guys returning that are looking forward to those opportunities to fill those voids that those guys left in our roster. And I think again we have an opportunity at our preseason tournaments to to start next weekend in Anchorage, and then our tournament to get some guys acclimated to some new roles and situations. And we have 8 freshmen that are coming in that have really have really grasped onto the culture that we have here and what is expected every day. And you're really seeing those guys grow every day. We've been on the ice and out in school, and you're just seeing a real mature group of freshmen come in and get acclimated quickly. So the preseason will be important to us, and again, the expectation is to continue to follow our process and do things the right way every day.
You got 96% of your scoring back this year up front, and I know, and that includes Colton Beck and preseason first-teamer Cody Kunick and senior Andy Toronto. They had 40 goals, 83 points last year. Do you keep them together this year? Do you break them up? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly, we're certainly aware of what they can get accomplished playing together. But I think, we've added some guys to our lineup, like a Tyler Morley as a freshman, that I think is going to, come in and be able to be productive as a freshman. I think Nolan Heisman is going to be able to come in and be productive in a different way. He kind of follows the mold of an Andy Toronto, where he's, likes to go in and get dirty, and he's a big, strong kid that, has a good set of hands around the net. So, certainly those guys are going to be important to lead us offensively. But, I think there's guys as well like Jarrett Granberg and Nick Haremchuk that are seniors for us, that have been solid players for us, that, I believe that are going to be productive players for us this year offensively. And we need to score more, just like everybody else. I mean, there's no secret there. I think if you look at our season last year, I think 10 of our losses were all by 1 goal. So whether it was getting that one save when we needed it, or capitalizing on that opportunity when we got it, we need to make sure that we're prepared to do that this season. So I feel good, up front, like you said. I mean, we have some depth up front. I think we've added some guys that are going to add to that depth, and so again, we're young on the back end and young in net. But again, I think collectively, I think with strong leadership, I think I can, I feel good about where we're going, and especially going to be led by that group.
What about junior D. Michael Quinn, one of the 4 defensemen returning? What are his strengths?
Well, I think the thing with Michael is his strengths is, I mean, he's a pretty, he's very strong at moving the puck effectively and efficiently, and I think that again, he's a player that, early in his career, like his freshman year, he had an injury. Started last year, very first team practice, he sprained his ankle, so he had a slow start to his season. But you've kind of seen glimpses of him, throughout when he is healthy, that this guy can play and he can impact the game. And I think, like every player, you want to develop that consistency and game in and game out. So not only as coaches, you know what to expect, but his teammates know what to expect. But he's going to be a leader for us back there. He plays in all situations. He's a mobile defenseman. He can move the puck effectively. He's got a good shot from the point, and again, he's a silent leader. I mean, he does things the right way. He works hard every day. Quality student. So he's a good role model for our younger D coming in to say, hey, this is what we expect, and this is how we do things here. So we expect him to be a leader for us back there. But again, it's not going to just be one guy. It's going to be a group of them.
Is there anybody else on the back end that you think is going to maybe have a chance to have a breakout season?
Yeah, I think, the one guy is Trevor Campbell. I think that, you look at Trevor's a real mobile, he's strong. I think that, he's a guy that can play in all three zones, and I think we started to see it again last year. I think coming in out of Topeka, I think that he came in, I don't know if he really knew what to expect. And I think he's actually a player that didn't really know exactly what his identity was. And I think talking with him last year, we really, we kind of tried to, identify some things that, hey, this is what you're capable of doing at this level. And he really kind of embraced that. And it was kind of a neat process to see throughout the course of the season how he developed. And by the end, he was he started being probably at a 6 slot that, then moving into the, 3-4 slot by the end of the season and in the playoffs. So he's a guy too. He didn't put up huge numbers by no means, but he's a guy that can play in all three zones, and certainly we feel that he's a guy that will take the next step this year.
What about, I got my count, 10 freshmen coming in with the Nanooks. Any of them look to be maybe an impact player this year?
Yeah, I think there's a couple. I like the group as a whole. I mean, it's pretty good balance. I think the two forwards for me right now that have kind of found their way in our top 9 so far this season has been Tyler Morley. He's out of, played in Surrey, British Columbia last year, and, he's an undersized guy, but really good speed, and he has ability to, not only, skate really fast, but he can make plays at that high pace. So it's something that's really caught our eye so far this season, and he's kind of meshed in really well with our group of forwards that we have, and I had mentioned him as well, but I mentioned Nolan Heisman too up front. I mean, he's a kind of a power forward type guy, and coming out of the Alberta Junior League, I think that the things that were appealing to us was just his ability to get dirty and score goals around the net. And I think that's something that we need in our lineup. And he's got a good touch around the net, and I think he's going to be a guy that he's going to complement whatever line he's going to be on. And I think on the back end we have 2 kids that I think that are have really kind of shown us that they're going to be real solid college defensemen. Is Colton Periaco as a freshman out of played in Fort McMurray last year, real big kid, got up here, taken some summer school this summer and got into the training, and you just from where he was and to where he is now, it's been a real nice process to watch and see where he's been developing. But he's a guy that he's going to log some quality minutes for us, and certainly excited about his career as it gets started here in Fairbanks. And Josh Atkinson's another kid that come out of the Alberta League that he's a puck moving defenseman. Reminds me a lot of a guy that was a real quality defenseman for us a few years back, was Darcy Campbell. Real good skater, real good shot. Offensive minded, I guess, is probably how I would have described Darcy, but he was very tenacious as well. And that's what I see with Josh too for, a first year guy. I mean, he's a guy that, gets after pucks and, has ability to jump up in the rush and get involved, and he's not afraid to make mistakes. And sometimes you don't necessarily feel as comfortable with it, but I think at the same time he's got courage out there, and he's somebody that's tenacious with and without the puck. So I like where he's going as well, and I think both those guys are going to be guys that'll log some quality minutes for us on the back end.
Last question, Dallas, from Paul Weston at USCHO.com. What does the final season of the CCHA mean to you and your program?
Yeah, I just caught the end of Mark's comments there, but I guess from my perspective personally, and from our program's perspective, I mean that's the only conference we know, and I came in as a freshman in 1992, and that was our first year as an affiliate member, and quite honestly, not knowing a whole lot about college hockey, coming out of the small town Alberta type thing, but it was just about playing hockey. But I've certainly over my time, as a student athlete, and then as a coach, I've certainly grown an appreciation for the history and the tradition that the CCHA has, and we're our community and our hockey program, and are certainly proud members, and we're certainly thankful that the opportunity the CCHA gave Nanook hockey, and certainly proud to have been a part of it, and we're certainly want to go through this last season. Our intent is still to continue to push to win a championship, but certainly real appreciative of the people that have been involved in the league, and some of the guys are still involved, like Red and Jeff. I mean, there's guys, and Bobby Daniels, and there's just a long list of people that have made it such a proud league with strong tradition. And again, I don't want to say that we're excited, but at the same time, it's just I feel good about the experience that we've had, and the opportunity that it's given our program and our fans here in Fairbanks.